Before I start, stop for a second. Seriously, if you've ever trusted someone completely, only to have that trust ripped apart, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. I need to know you're still with me. Trust me, this story isn't just dramatic, it's life-changing and painful in ways you can't imagine. My name's Ethan. I'm 37, live just outside Seattle in a quiet cul-de-sac that looks perfect on paper. Married for 8 years to Sarah, the woman I thought I would grow old with. Funny, smart, beautiful, the kind of woman who spills a latte on her laptop in college and laughs about it instead of apologizing. Yeah, I thought that was charming. God, how wrong I was. We bought that house with the white picket fence because Sarah said it felt like a storybook. And you know what? I believed her. Every word, every promise. I believed everything she said. And for years, it felt like a dream. Wake up early, make coffee together, walk to the park on weekends, have barbecues with neighbors. Simple, normal life. But life doesn't stay simple forever. Jake, that's his name, the man next door. Divorced, ex-Marine, built like someone who still lives in the gym. 34. Friendly guy, brings you tomatoes, lends tools, says hi to everyone. Nothing suspicious, right? That's what I thought, until it started. It was July. Sticky heat that makes the air feel heavy and thick, the kind that makes you pray the AC works. I came home early because my boss let us out after a big project release. I was looking forward to a quiet evening with Sarah, and there she was, barefoot in the front yard, laughing at something Jake said. Her laugh, lighter, warmer than it ever sounded around me lately. And he was holding a box of bright red tomatoes, almost unnaturally vibrant in the sunlight. Then I saw it. Her hand lingered, just a second too long on his forearm when she took the box. And I froze. My chest tightened. My brain said, it's nothing. Neighbors share produce, it's normal. But my gut screamed otherwise. Small things started piling up after that. Long text messages on her phone that she would rush to close when I walked by, phone calls in the bathroom, laughter in the kitchen that didn't include me, and me pretending nothing was wrong. I kept telling myself I was imagining it, but deep down, I knew. Ever had that gut-wrenching moment where your life feels like it's teetering on the edge of a cliff, and you know it, but there's nothing you can do? That's exactly how it felt that Tuesday. I came home late one night. The house was too quiet, too empty. And then I heard it. Soft laughter, the kind that makes your stomach drop. I followed it, quietly, cautiously, and there they were, Jake and Sarah. Her arms around his waist, his hands on her shoulders. My world stopped. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, gone. Just like that. I didn't move. I didn't yell. I couldn't. I just stood there frozen, watching the nightmare unfold in front of me. And in that moment, I realized my life as I knew it was over. I went to the beach that weekend, staring at the waves, the cold Pacific wind biting through my hoodie. I kept telling myself to breathe. Breathe, Ethan. You'll figure it out. But there's a point where breathing isn't enough. My mind kept replaying everything, the years, the laughter, the promises, the little everyday moments we shared, and realizing they were all lies. And then came the texts, hundreds of them, hidden meetings, late-night messages, confessions of feelings, jokes I wasn't part of, and then the inevitable messages that made my blood run cold. I can't stop thinking about you. The betrayal, it was complete. 8 years, a life we built together, reduced to a series of messages and stolen moments. I felt sick, my chest tight, my hands shaking. I tried talking to her, calmly. I wanted answers, I wanted honesty, I wanted closure. But I got nothing that made sense. Just excuses, just guilt that didn't match the damage done. And the hardest part? I didn't just feel angry at Sarah. I felt anger at myself for missing the signs, for trusting too much, for believing the fairy tale. I spent nights on the couch, staring at the ceiling, imagining my life if I had noticed sooner. What if I had said something? What if I noticed the long glances, the late texts, the hidden calls? But life isn't a movie, and there's no rewind. There's only the truth you're left with, and mine was ugly. If you're still here, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs a reality check, and drop a comment if you've ever felt that gut punch of betrayal, because this story, it's just getting started. The worst part? I realized that it wasn't just Sarah, it was Jake too. That neighbor, that smiling, helpful, friendly guy, had been waiting for this, waiting for a chance to step into my life, to take something that wasn't his. And he did, without remorse, without a second thought. I kept thinking, maybe she didn't mean it. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I was overreacting. But then my gut told me otherwise. And the gut is always right. I remember standing in the kitchen that night, phone in hand, texts open, my world collapsing around me. And I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to face it. I had to confront her, even if it broke me completely. And you know what? I did. But that part comes next. That's where things get real, where emotions explode, confrontations happen, where I realize the full extent of the betrayal. So stick around, hit like, subscribe, comment, and prepare yourself. Because this story isn't just about betrayal. It's about surviving it. It's about facing the impossible. And most importantly, it's about learning that life doesn't stop, even when everything else does. All right, if you're still with me, seriously, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop a comment. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's intense, it's raw, and honestly, it still hurts to relive. A few days after discovering the texts, I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I couldn't ignore the signs, the whispers, the stolen moments. My hands shook, my chest ached, but I knew it was time. I had to confront Sarah. Not yell, not scream, just face the truth. I walked into the kitchen that evening. She was humming, making coffee, completely unaware that my life had just collapsed. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said. My voice was steady, but my stomach twisted. She turned, smiling that same smile I had fallen in love with years ago. And for a second, I almost faltered. Almost. But then I noticed it. The flicker in her eyes, just for a second. The hesitation. The weight of guilt. She knew. "Sure, what's on your mind?" she said, calm as ever. I forced the words out. "Don't lie to me, Sarah. I know about him. I saw the texts. I know everything." Her smile disappeared. She looked down, then back at me. And you know that moment when your chest feels like it's being ripped open? That was it. "Yes," she whispered, "it's true." I felt like someone had punched me straight in the gut. My knees almost gave out. I wanted to scream, throw something, run, anything. But I just stood there, paralyzed, watching her, listening to the calmness in her voice while my world burned. "Why?" I whispered, my voice cracked. 8 years? Was it all a lie? She hesitated, took a breath. "I don't know, Ethan. I got caught up. It just happened. I didn't plan it, I swear, but I can't deny it anymore." I felt tears well up, not from anger, but from heartbreak. The person I trusted most had chosen someone else. And worse, someone I knew, someone I saw every day in our neighborhood. For the next few minutes, we just stood there. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I couldn't believe I was hearing this. Couldn't believe I had to process this reality. Every laugh, every hug, every late-night talk, tainted now. And then the confrontation escalated. My anger bubbled under the surface. I tried to keep my composure, but some things you can't control. "You just threw it all away? Like it was nothing?" I asked, voice shaking with rage. I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, almost pleading. "I love you. I don't know. I don't know what I felt. I wasn't thinking." And I snapped. "Not thinking? You weren't thinking? Sarah, you cheated on me with the guy next door. Do you understand what that does? Do you even feel it? Her eyes welled up. I'm sorry. But sorry? Sorry doesn't fix 8 years of betrayal. Doesn't undo the nights I spent thinking we were building a life together. Doesn't erase the feeling of watching the woman you love in someone else's arms. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the porch, staring at the stars, trying to make sense of everything. The moonlight reflected on the calm cul-de-sac, and yet my mind was chaos. I kept replaying the moments, her smile at him, the way she lingered, the texts she sent in secret. Weeks passed. Tense mornings, awkward dinners, passive-aggressive glances. Every time I walked past Jake, I felt a surge of anger and disbelief. He never apologized, never acknowledged what he had done. And Sarah, she acted like nothing had changed. But everything had. My world crumbled. I realized something important during that time. Pain, betrayal, heartbreak, they don't disappear just because you want them to. You have to confront them, face them, survive them, and that's exactly what I decided to do. One night, I sat in my car, parked across the street from their houses, watching them, watching how easily life went on for them, as if my world hadn't been destroyed. And I understood. Healing doesn't mean revenge. It doesn't mean proving a point. It means moving forward. But moving forward isn't instant. I spent nights crying in the shower, writing in journals, replaying memories I couldn't unsee. I questioned myself constantly. Did I do something wrong? Did I fail her? Did I fail us? And then it hit me. No, none of it was my fault. Cheating, betrayal, that's on them. I did everything I could. I loved her. I trusted her. And she broke that trust. The rest wasn't mine to carry. If you're still watching, hit that like button. Share this story if you know someone who's been through betrayal. Comment below. Your story matters. Because surviving something like this, you realize you're not alone. And here's the kicker. She tried to make excuses, tried to manipulate, tried to make it seem like I was the one overreacting. But I saw through it. 8 years, and one decision destroyed it all. I couldn't go back. I wouldn't. Weeks turned into months. I moved out temporarily, stayed with a friend. The house we bought, the home we built, the life we shared became a memory. I sold it eventually, a final step toward reclaiming my life. And the day I drove away, I felt both heartbreak and freedom. I didn't just lose a marriage. I lost someone I trusted completely. But I also gained clarity. I realized that some people will hurt you, some people will betray, and some people will never regret it. And the only way to survive is to let go. So yeah, that's where part 2 ends. The betrayal has been confronted, the pain is raw, and the road ahead is mine to walk. Stick around for part 3. That's where I tell you how I survived, how I rebuilt, and how life, even after total destruction, can still feel worth living. And remember, hit like, subscribe, and comment, because sharing this story helps more than just me. It helps anyone who's ever had their trust broken to know they can survive. They can move forward. They can heal. Hey, if you're still watching, seriously, thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've ever been betrayed, lost someone, or had your life turned upside down. Because surviving betrayal, it's not just about pain, it's about rebuilding. And that's what this part is about. How I survived, how I moved on, and how I finally found some peace. After I ended it with Sarah, the house felt empty. Too empty. Every corner reminded me of us, of everything we had built together over 8 years. The white picket fence, the quiet cul-de-sac, our walks, our dinners, all memories now tainted, hollow, impossible to touch without pain. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind outside, thinking about what I had lost and how easily it was taken. But staying in that pain wouldn't heal me, so I did the hardest thing. One small step at a time, I started to rebuild. The first step was physical. I went back to the gym, sweat pouring down, muscles aching, heart racing, not just to get in shape, but to remind myself I was still alive, still me. I wrote in a journal every night. Thoughts, feelings, memories, all poured onto paper. It became my therapy, my way to make sense of chaos. Friends became my lifeline. I realized how isolated I had become in that marriage, but they showed up. Late night calls, beers on the porch, long talks about nothing and everything, human connection, laughing again, feeling alive. Slowly, step by step, I started to breathe again. Dating was terrifying. Letting someone in again after total betrayal felt impossible. But each small step reminded me that life didn't end with heartbreak. Life continues. And eventually, I even started to enjoy it. Simple moments, a coffee with a friend, a walk along the beach, a smile from someone new, reminded me that the world was bigger than my pain. The hardest part was facing Sarah. I had to sell the house, leave the neighborhood where every corner reminded me of betrayal. Moving out felt like both defeat and freedom. Driving away for the last time, I realized the life I built with her was over, but my life, my future, was still mine. Jake, he never apologized, never acknowledged the chaos he caused, and honestly, I don't need it. Part of healing is understanding some people never change, never feel regret, and you can't waste your life waiting for them to do the right thing. Their actions don't define you. You define yourself by how you respond. One evening, sitting on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, waves crashing violently below, wind biting my face, I felt peace. Not the kind of peace that erases the past, but the kind that tells you you survived, that you endured, that you can rebuild from the ruins. And in that moment, I realized something crucial. Life doesn't stop because someone betrayed you. It goes on, and it's up to you to walk forward. Healing isn't linear. I had bad days. Days when memories hit me like a punch to the gut, when I questioned myself, my choices, my judgment. But I learned to sit with the pain, let it exist, without letting it control me. Therapy, journaling, and friends became pillars in my life. Slowly, I stopped defining myself by what was lost and started defining myself by what I could still build. I remember walking along the beach one morning, sunrise painting the sky in pinks and golds, feeling something I hadn't felt in months, hope. Not forced, not fleeting, but real. That hope reminded me that betrayal, as devastating as it is, isn't the end. It's a turning point. And from that turning point, I could choose my path. I also realized forgiveness isn't always about the other person. I don't forgive Sarah because she deserves it. I forgive her because I need it. Forgiveness frees you from the chains of anger and resentment. It allows you to move forward. And that freedom, it's priceless. Months turned into a year. I found joy in things I had forgotten. Books, hiking, long drives without a plan. Life wasn't perfect. There were scars, reminders of the past, but I was stronger, smarter, wiser. And slowly, I began to open my heart again, not recklessly, but carefully with boundaries and self-respect. If you're watching this, I want you to remember something important. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it changes you. It forces you to reassess your life, your values, your relationships, but it doesn't define you. You can survive, you can rebuild, and one day, you'll look back and see that the pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning of your real life. And here's the final truth. After total heartbreak, I found something I didn't expect. Freedom. Freedom to make choices for myself. Freedom to love again, carefully, wisely. Freedom to live a life that isn't dictated by someone else's mistakes. And that's priceless. So, if you've stayed with me until the end, thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment below with your story, your experience, or just a word of support. Because sharing this helps more than just me. It helps anyone who's been betrayed, who's hurt, and who feels like their world has collapsed. This story, my story, is proof that even when everything falls apart, you can survive, you can rebuild, and one day, you can be stronger, happier, and freer than ever before. So yes, 8 years lost, betrayal endured, heartbreak survived, But today, I'm alive, I'm whole, I'm moving forward, and so can you.